A very good morning to all. On behalf of the Hindu Education Plus, I welcome you to today's webinar on generative AI for higher education under the Career Counseling Series, and it is presented by Vellore Institute of Technology, Chennai. As we understand, the AI universe is getting bigger and bigger. The technology is embedded in our lives, and we have been using perhaps some form of artificial intelligence for quite some time now, without even realizing it perhaps. From self-driving cars and robotic surgery to generating images, cloning voices, and writing human-sounding texts from essays and theses to novels and lyrics, AI is part of modern life today, even though the potential and perils are huge. Everybody's talking about AI and ethical concerns. People are both excited and worried. Even as the concept soars in popularity with 100 million active users per month, a major concern is if it will turn us humans into non-thinkers and obsolete. A distinguished panel of speakers will steer today's discussion to explore how AI can impact higher education. We cannot stop technology, so how best can we use it? So let me begin with the introduction of our first speaker, Professor L. Jagannathan from VIT Chennai. A PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, with specialization in theoretical computer science. Professor Jagannathan is known as a passionate teacher with many explorations to his credit in various learning methodologies like Z2A approach, project and research-based learning, flip the class, etc. His courses are oriented more towards triggering young minds into thinking, and all his course-related assessments are a real minds-on session. With 32 years of teaching experience behind him, Professor Jagannathan is currently working on a project to develop AI tools to facilitate education for all in a better way and make it a reality. His presentation is on how generative AI can help in the TLA, that is, teaching, learning, assessment process. So it's over to you, sir.
Okay. Good morning, madam, and good morning to the fellow panelists. And let me first thank VIT and for hosting such a good program, which is very much required now. And thanks to the Hindu also. And this artificial intelligence didn't start just yesterday or day before yesterday. It started well before 1950s, thanks to Alan Turing. Now, the purpose of this webinar here is technology has got developed and higher education is on one side, how to make best use of it and what are the challenges and other things. Let me begin with a brief introduction about the purpose of any education, whether it is a school education, higher education, whatever it is. The purpose of education is to trigger the young minds to think. So in fact, every course, whatever you do inside academic campus or education in the thing, it is just a training session to think actually. Now, this technology has disrupted many processes in many domains across the globe, across the ages. For example, now the people are having many apprehension, AI has come, then the thinking will get lost. Every student will submit their assignments by using ChatGPT and other things like that. There are many apprehension right from November that is 30th November 2022, the boom started. And even now we are talking about it. Many universities banned it and the drama is going on actually. Now, the same thing happened when the typewriter came into existence. The people thought that writing will get lost. Without writing, reading skill, nothing like that, everything. So like that, calculators, computers, internet, search engines, everything had come and disrupted. Disruption for a positive sense, and educationalists, academicians have rose to the occasion and got adapted to the technology without compromising the main objective of training the young minds to think. So now, with this introduction about education, so artificial intelligence, what is AI tool? It is just a computer program that imitates human cognition with a reasoning and which will help you to decision making actually. Many models have come. There are difference between AI tool. It is a tool for one purpose. I am having a book. I want to summarize the 100 pages of a book into one page. That is called the AA tool. There it is not going to do any generation. All the contents of the summarization will be taken from the source book actually. Now the generative AI, it is going to generate on its own based on the pattern, based on the training it received actually, learning by experience. And for example, some examples are IBM Watson, Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant are all the AI tools. And earlier days when my parents and grandparents say that you don't have any intelligence and other thing, now those things cannot stand, because every day, whether we know it or not, unknowingly, knowingly, we are using some AI. So some intelligence is getting in, and imbibed in us actually. So now, major AI tools are ChatGPT, the things OpenAI, the company which introduced the ChatGPT, and Bard, Copilot, Alpha, those things and all. And general AI tools which can be used for education is content preparation on a specific topic. I am having one concept, I want to prepare some material for it, so I can use this. Another thing, text to PPT converter. I am having some 10 pages of document, and as a teacher, I want to present it to the student, so I want to convert that into PPT. Gamma will help you, and summarization of the gist of that, and summarization of the YouTube videos and animation of that, because nowadays if you show a textual PPT, the students are not getting engaged. Another thing, question answer generation from the content, that is like our comprehension questions, those things and all. And preparation of the course plan. As a teacher, I want to prepare the full course plan, making all the constraints accommodated in that. For that, I can use preparation of the lecture notes, grading the students, and as a tutor, as a collaborator, as a partner with whom I can have a discussion, virtual learning assistant. The company name I have referred it, and we are going to give you a handout with all the details after the webinar. So you can focus on how the things are happening, and to measure the learning curve, that I am getting marks in the first exam, second exam, whether it increasing or something like it actually. And sometimes, if the content is in English, I want to understand that in my local language, I can have the Google Translator, everything actually. All the tools which are being used in the education sector are data driven actually. And this generative AI tool carries content. The data set used is the web actually. It carries the contents of millions of books and knowledge of millions of teachers. If I offer a course for 60 students will get an expertise of mine only. But if I use Gen AI and other things, it carries the expertise of millions of books and other things. Now we are going to see the teacher's perspective, how it can be used. See, teachers are having intellectual work and administrative work, and this course related textual work actually. So preparation of a course plan, I can use ChatGPT and other thing. And while using all this thing, one caution is this ChatGPT is going to be my assistant. I am going to be the boss. I am having an assistant. The assistant prepares it. After that, I have to apply my mind whether it is correct or not. That caution will always be there forever. So I can use that. For a course, we have given this information with the sample prompt in the handout itself. So preparation of a course plan and preparation of course handout. That is information sheet, how the assessments, everything actually. And if I want to understand a concept in a typical way as I require, because for example, if I have a topic, I go on raising many questions, and based on the answer, I will compile the document, those things actually. And preparation of lecture materials in the way I want, in the way my students want, and exploration of, if I want to know about the quantum algorithm, I don't know ABCD of it, I can give many queries to the generative AI tool and get it that actually. So these are the things from the teacher's perspective. And learner's perspective, the teacher has taught me, but I want to answer, I want to get it more conceptual understanding. I want to know something more about Fibonacci series. I can query it. I can initiate the discussion with that and get the full clear understanding of that actually. And AI assisted learning, that's something equivalent to the self-learning. I want to learn something new. So based on that, I can put the prompt in that, I can get it, all those things. And problem solving. Teacher has taught me solving the problem in one method. I want to know whether this problem can be solved in different methods by different techniques. I can use this actually. And if the student may be introvert, he doesn't have any friends to discuss with other thing, he can use this ChatGPT or this generative AI for as a collaborator, as a tutor. I want to do a capstone project. In what domain I can do? What are the sample topics? Like that, I can make the discussions actually. Then, so teaching, learning, we can use these tools comfortably. Actually, the technical details are supplied in the hand. Now comes the assessment. Then one question will come here is, so if the students are going to use the ChatGPT or any other tool for their learning and other thing, for the assignment submission also they can do it, then what is the purpose of the whole education? Without thinking component, without any skill, they can get good scores and other thing that will happen actually. So for that reason, that innovation is very catchy word, creativity. Those two things, I can ask innovative questions and creative questions which cannot be answered by the ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is getting trained on the web. It is going to get the learning from the existing thing. It is not going to create anything. So for then, if I have that way, then if you are going to ask the questions, innovative question, creative question for the examination, then how the students will answer unless you train them. So I have to start my teaching orientation right from the day one of the course towards innovation. I have to raise many innovative questions, creative questions, those things actually. So when teaching the concept, I have to make it out. And when does the learning start? When the teacher asks more and more questions, learning gets triggered. Those things actually. So I have to inculcate the culture of innovativeness and the creativeness in the classroom itself. Only then I can ask the questions in the examination actually. So innovative, what are the simple definition of innovative question is think out of the box, raise the question in no way, don't bother anything realistic in that. So if you happen to view some JE questions, they will be highly innovative, but there won't be any realistic structure. So innovative questions, you have to think. That is the thing. And what is creative? The things which can be realistically implemented, they are called creative question. Here I am talking creativity is objective here in the technical education and other things actually. So every problem will have three concepts: input, output, methodology. Like that, you can have the creativity in any one of the thing. Sample question, I have made it one concept: speed is equal to distance over time. Based on that, I have coined one innovative question. This will be shared also, you can make it out actually. Based on the same concept, creative question, that is speed is equal to distance over time. Then you can have that leisure so that you can understand the innovativeness in that action. So creative questions are also like it. So for every concept we can have it actually. Then one question, so even if some teacher has set the innovative question, put it in the web, and the ChatGPT will get learned from that and other things. One thing you make sure, innovativeness and creativeness is based on individual. No two painters will paint in the same way actually. So that is like a biometric actually. IC is unique for a person. Innovation and creativity is unique. No AI tool can beat the innovation creativity of humans as of now, and most probably because here I'm talking about the objectivity sense actually. So adapting AI, that coming to the concluding part, adapting AI for HA. What is HA stands for higher education. What the thing we can have more inclusive personal learning ecosystem. Every student can have his own curriculum, and every student has the opportunity to reach their potential. As been prescribed by NEP, we have to move from mark focused to skill focused. And another one, use of AI tools will reduce the routine works of the stakeholder, whether it may be a learner or a teacher or administrator or a policy maker, and they will have more time to focus on their core skills actually. So, and then Indian government policy AI for all. This is the official website, indiaai.gov.in, and India has come out with the draft of the national strategy for artificial intelligence, because we have to regulate all these things in a new structure. Though that draft policy which came out in 2020, in the same way, every institution should frame an AI policy in compliance with the national policy. In VIT, what we have done is for selective courses, we have applied these techniques actually. We have made it for each selective courses. We have done it, experimented, and based on that only we have given all these things in the handout actually. And AI education for all. And if whatever you do in the AI tools and other thing, it should comply with India's AI policy. And the advantages here, I can have a separate curriculum for each and every student. And these are the advantages, those we can make it. And caution, this is the final thing, caution, any tool is double-edged sword. And it is up to the user to check the correctness of the output. And if my subordinate, if my clerk secretary gives me some document, it is my responsibility to vet the document and approve it. In the same way, it is self-regulation is the need of the whatever may be the thing. You have to be very careful. Tools should complement the work. It should increase our performance. And for example, no one will undergo a medical treatment if it is prescribed by Gen AI. Then we'll go for second opinion, third opinion. This applies to all domain, not only for the. So now the thing is, general AI will replace the teaching. No, it is going to complement. It will give more space for teaching and creativity. Students will not think at all. That is a myth. It will minimize the rote learning. It will provide more space for them to think actually. Students will not code everything. These are the myth and fact. I have made it out actually. So in summary, what is the conclusion here is, now to make best use of AI tool, higher education, he should be put in ICU. Not intensive care unit, it is innovation creative unit. So if higher education is put in innovation creative unit, we can make the best use of generative AI tools, and we require more and more tools. So AI will do the part of agglomeration of information in the way we want, which is essential to our thinking. And as everyone knows, ability to innovate and solve creativity, solve problems in a creative way is required, is the order of the day. Hope I have made myself clear. I'm eagerly waiting for the questions, and thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Jagannathan. Like the way you concluded that he should be in ICU, and I'm sure we'll revert to some of those points later in the program. Our next speaker is Professor G. Bharadwaja Kumar. He completed his PhD in computer science from University of Hyderabad and started his career as a member research staff at the Anna University K.B. Chandrasekhar Research Center in Madras Institute of Technology. He worked there for more than 4 years before shifting to VIT University in 2012. Professor Bharadwaja's research areas of interest include natural language processing, speech processing, machine learning, and deep learning for sustainable development. He has presented and published several research papers in international conferences and journals, and also completed a project with the Department of Science and Technology. A NASSCOM certified master trainer for associate analytics certification, he has completed more than 100 certifications on Coursera in data science domain and also guided PhD students. He will now speak on the impact of generative AI on academic research. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, madam, for the nice introduction. Myself, Dr. G. Bharadwaj Kumar. I would like to thank VIT management and Hindu for giving me opportunity to participate in the seminar. I am talking about how generative AI can enhance the research skills of higher education students. So we know that innovation and research are the main motives of higher education. But if we look at where we stand in innovation and research, we are at 40th rank out of 132 economies in Global Innovation Index, ranked by WIPO. And very few higher educational institutes are globally recognized in terms of research and innovation. And also, India's research output was 4th highest worldwide, but 9th in the citation count. So to emerge India as a global innovation hub, higher education institutes need to create innovation ecosystem, and they have to carry out groundbreaking research. So even though there are many challenges in higher education, the predominant hindrances of higher education in India are faculty-student ratio, where now it is about 1:26, but the prescribed ratio is 1:10, and many colleges having lack of qualified teachers. So to combat these hindrances, generative AI tools can play a vital role to enhance the student engagement in innovation, to inculcate research orientation in students, and also to supplement certain mundane tasks of supervisor. Generative AI can act as enabler and catalyst to tap the potential of the students who are deprived of proper guidance. So what are generative AI tools? These are few generative AI tools which are most popular in recent years. They can mimic the human cognitive skills to generate new information such as image, text, videos, which are learned from existing data. So as a higher education student, if one wants to carry out research, one needs to define or choose the research problem. Then he needs to search for the literature review. Then he needs to discuss with the guide to understand in depth about his research topic. Sometimes he may need to code. Then finally, he needs to communicate the results in well-articulated manner. So in all these aspects, generative AI tools can help him in enhancing his skills. So we discuss one by one. So tools for finding research domain and understanding research, there are many tools which are shown here. I will just give one example. Let us say a student area of interest is speech recognition, and he wants to identify a research problem in the area of speech recognition. He can go and discuss with these generative AI tools, and can you suggest me a research problem in speech domain? Then actually these generative AI tools can help him in defining the research problem. This is another illustration about how to define a research problem. Then if he is not having any research domain of interest, still he wants to carry out research, then even these generative AI tools can suggest him a research topic. For example, here it has suggested machine learning algorithms for early disease detection as a research topic. So once he decides his research topic, then he may select few papers and he wants to understand about the research paper. Then he can use these tools to understand the research paper in depth. For example, here there is one generative AI tool, Chat PDF, which can help him in understanding the research paper in depth. He can put few questions to the tool, and the generative AI tool will find the answers from the research paper and help him in understanding in a faster manner. This is another tool. If you suggest the research area, it can even provide the summary of few papers and then suggest few papers to explore. Then there are few tools for doing effective literature review, which is the major problem for most of the students, because most of the colleges are not subscribed many journals. So it is very difficult for them to search the literature review. For example, this semantic scholar, if my domain is something, then if you go and search in this semantic scholar, it suggests most relevant papers, which not easy to find from the Google. And if he actually keep on filtering the research papers, he will go to the most relevant research papers. For example, it has suggested most relevant research papers for the given domain. In the same way, there are some tools which can help him in visualizing the relationship between different research papers and help him in finding the critical research gaps in the literature. So this lit map can help him in suggesting the literature papers, and also helps him in showing a graph what is the relationship between these research papers. And generative AI tools can also help him as a discussion partner, because he needs to understand in depth about his research topic. For example, if he even a student who doesn't know about research, he can actually discuss with what is research and what are the components of research. These generative AI tools can help him in this regard. Because most of the time students may have apprehension to discuss with the guide. He may not understand the topic in depth, but with generative AI tools, he can discuss any number of times by any topic without apprehension. That is one of the better advantage with the generative AI tool. So if a student who is not aware of research and he wants to understand what is research, let us say a bachelor's degree student want to involve in research, whether it helps him in engaging in research, then even ChatGPT can suggest the reasons to engage in research and help him in understanding what advantages of research. And also, if there are some concepts which are very difficult to understand and related content is rarely available, even these generative AI tools can help him in understanding the concepts. So there are sometimes when they are doing research, they may need to code. Maybe the students from some other domains who are not experts in coding, these generative AI tools can help them in writing the coding. For example, to do data analysis, or to simulate, or to visualize. These are the few tools which are most popular. And once he do the experimentation, he need to communicate his results in a well-articulated manner. Most of the times, students are having problems in communicating the research paper or writing the research paper. So these tools can enhance their writing skills and presentation skills. For example, there is an Insta text, which once he has written a research paper, it can find the grammatical mistakes and it can suggest, it can give few suggestions to rewrite the paper. And also there are some paraphrasing tools. Of course, once you are using the paraphrasing tools, you have to be cautious because it may generate inaccurate or awkwardly phrases, but it can help him in rewriting. Sometimes it's very difficult to rewrite the sentence. And there are some review tools also available. Once he has written the research paper, if he can understand where he stands, then he can upload this his research paper, and this tool will suggest him these are the relevant research papers in this domain, and actually there is a similarity between your written paper to the other papers which are available on the web. Here it is suggesting the similarity. So he can refine his research paper. This is another tool which can help him in the same way, whether it is actually structure of the manuscript is according to the general requirements or not, it can suggest him. And there are some tools which can even do automatic slide generation. So many times students copy paste a lot of text into the slides. So these tools can help him in understanding how to actually make the presentation. So for example, if you give a domain, it suggests the topics and also it makes slides and show them how to make a good presentation. This is another tool for making presentation. Then let us say a student want to understand about what is patent, then he can get actually awareness about the patent. So for example, student want to understand how to do patent filing, it can suggest him. Or even he doesn't understand about what is novelty in patent filing, even it can give some illustration what could be the novelty. So these are some tools which can help him in this understanding the patents. Then let us say he has submitted a research paper and he want to present the research paper. Most of the times they may have apprehension about what questions they may face once they are presenting. So these tools can help him in understanding what kind of questions they may face. Here, for example, I have given some text and these tools has generated some questions regarding the text I have uploaded. So same way they can actually train them with the questions themselves. Then there are few tools even to summarize the videos for better understanding. For example, this summarized text can give the summary of the entire video in a well-articulated manner. And this is another tool for summarizing the videos. And there are some tools, let us say the student is not able to understand the research paper, even he can translate the outcome of the research paper into his own language and try to understand well. So this is another tool for translation into his own language for better understanding. And there are some tools even to create an audio book. So when and where he can actually convert the entire book into audio and he can listen to it wherever he wants and whenever he wants. So now we understand that generative AI tools can help him in many aspects of enhancing his research skills, but there are few words in caution. It merely does surface level comprehension. So it may not always generate new content or new ideas. He should be very careful in this while using the tools, and they should be used to motivate a thoughtful and strategic approach or only to augment or enhance his skills. So there is a saying, technology should improve your life, not become your life. So and over relying on these tools may reduce his critical thinking and problem solving skills. So he should be very careful. Technology is a useful servant, but a dangerous master. So he should keep that in mind. And also
Thank you, Dr. Bhardwaj, for those valuable inputs. Our next speaker is Mr. Sudarshan Santhiappan, the Chief Scientific Officer at a Claritex company that goes by the name Buddy AI. An alumnus of IIT Madras and incisive leader with 2 decades of experience leading AI R&D projects, he strongly believes in the MAC strategy, that is measure, analyze, and control, for solving problems and sustaining consistent performance improvements. Mr. Sudarshan is an industry academia joint research facilitator and with a prolific hands-on experience. He will now tell us about the impact of AI on industrial research. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll take a step back and talk about, what happened before 2022 with respect to all the gaga that's happening around. Okay, so when it comes to AI, there are a certain set of problems that we try to solve. Some of the problems are the following. So problems such as regression, such as classification, ranking, structure prediction, and probably choosing the best next action. So these are some of the problems. Any AI problem can be an example of. So any problem that you can think of can be put in one of these 5 buckets, right? But in 2020, Google came up with an idea called text-to-text transfer transformer. In short, it's called T5. So they said any of these AI problems can be modeled as a conversation. Any of these problems can be modeled as a conversation. So a conversation has an input, and some agent, you give an input and the agent is responding back with a response, right? That can be called as the output. So any of the AI problems, which are the input-output types, can be modeled as a conversation problem. And ChatGPT is an outcome of a conversational AI endeavor, right? ChatGPT is an example of conversational AI. So which the seed for this idea was set in 2020. In fact, the ChatGPT that we talk about, or any GPT models that we talk about, is all based on a technology called Transformer, which was originally published in 2017, right? So the technology was published 5 years back, and it took its time to become big, and in 2022, it disrupted the world. So that's a background we should all be aware of. So the takeaway here is, any problem can be modeled as a conversational problem. So that is the fundamental note behind generative AI or conversational AI. So when it comes to industry, there are only 3 types of industries that practice AI, or there are 3 types of AI industries. The first one is called the AI applications companies. So these companies use AI tech to build solutions for the market. So this is the largest chunk, like 95% to 98% of the companies come under this category called AI applications. The second one is fundamental research, right? Fundamental research in AI. So this group is largely taken over by academic research all over the world. And there are a handful of industries which also contribute to academic research. The third family or the third faction is a combination of both. I call them the applied AI research companies. So they understand the fundamental research outcomes. They also understand the prospects of building an AI application, and they bridge these two factions. So this group is called the applied AI faction, right? And this group is very niche. I mean, you see a large population of companies in the AI applications group, and a very small population of companies in the fundamental research, and even more smaller population in the applied AI research. So after generative AI disrupted the world, how it impacted the industrial research. So there are only two aspects that the industry look at generative AI as. First is, can AI be my competitor? Can AI be my competition? The second is, can AI be my partner? So there are only two outcomes. There are only two ramifications of the situation. One is I take generative AI as a competition and fight against it. The second is I take generative AI as a partner and embrace it, right? And the first question when ChatGPT saw the light of the day, the first question that my customers asked me is that, are you feeling threatened? That's the question. That's the word they used. They said, are you feeling threatened? Because you are in the same space as ChatGPT or the GPTs of the world. So are you feeling threatened by this massive monster, a good one or a bad one that we are yet to figure out? Are you feeling threatened about it? I said, no, I am not threatened because my fundamentals are strong. Right. So the answer to that question is that when the fundamentals are strong, when the fundamentals are solid, you don't feel threatened by any new tech that comes into the play, right? So we chose to embrace it, right? We don't see that as a competition because a group of humans created Gen AI, right? Gen AI cannot rule humans. That is something that I strongly believe, right? The only disparity we have to understand here is there is a small faction of very intelligent people trying to build tools and technologies to control a large faction of not so intelligent people, right? So that has the story has become that. So originally, before ChatGPT came into play, people talked about AI democratization. I mean, they said AI should be for everybody. Even today, India has a policy that is called AI for all, or AI for Bharat. That's also an initiative from the government of India. But if you look at the scenario carefully, it is moving from AI being democratized to AI becoming an aristocracy. That is something I'm worried about, but we can catch up to that. We can catch up to that. So the positive impacts of generative AI in the industrial research is that the industry can go to market very, very fast, because the time taken to build an application or a technology for an end user is fairly shorter, because the base is very strong. The Gen AI base is very strong, and you can build applications on top of it very, very quickly, right? And so the time it takes to go to market is very, very small. The second positive about Gen AI is that, the amount of time that I require, the amount of labor I have to put in to develop a software has also come down. For instance, if you take examples like Copilot, the software developers can have a Copilot as a part of their development environment that can suggest code changes on the flow, right? It reduces the time taken to develop software. It reduces the time taken to develop applications. So end of the day, net, it is a profitable proposition for the industry. So whether it is good or bad, industry does not really think about, does not really worry about. They only look at the positive side of the game here. So how can we leverage generative AI to go to market faster, to minimize the labor, to minimize the time taken, and maximize the margin? So this is what industry will always crave about. And Gen AI is feeding to that. So, but if you are a responsible AI practitioner, over and above the positive aspects, we should also be paying attention to how can we stop abuse of this very powerful technology. So for that, there needs to be a consortium which manages and regulates the usage of AI for heavy applications, and that is in the works now. And sooner we will probably have some guidelines or policies at a pan country level or pan region level that might pop up, and that will regulate AI application development companies and AI research companies to fairly and squarely use AI for any solution, any problem solving. Right. So right now it is all Diwali in industry. They're all super excited about the availability of a super cool technology for solving their problems very fast. But the responsibility aspect of it, the fair usage aspect of it is I would call it work in progress. So I park my conversation here and maybe open the floor for questions. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Sundarsan. So I would also like our participants to quickly put in their questions so that we can squeeze in as many as possible, because we have almost eaten into our time with the 3 presentations. What broadly comes clear is that since Gen AI tools are really capable of producing very realistic and kind of complex contents that mimics the human creativity and also human cognitive abilities or capabilities. So as since this is a VIT sponsored webinar for students, as a parent, I would really wonder, like, isn't the purpose of education, which is learning, essentially learning and lateral thinking, isn't that getting defeated because we are continuously giving our children, our students, every possible shortcut? Who would like to address that?
Okay, I'll take the thing. Hope other panelists agree, I think. Hello. Yeah. The thing is, with the AI, usage of AI, we have experimented for a selective courses, and it has increased the innovativeness, creativeness from the side of the student. Even I myself subjected myself with certain problems, and with the help of it, I got many ideas actually. It prepared a draft. That is, for the boss, the secretary is giving a draft. That has to be worked upon, fine-tuned in every perspective to make it perfect. So there I have my own thinking, everything actually. So with the generative AI tools, the routine works are taken by the tools and the thinking component has got increased. That is the output of the experimentation which we have done at VIT. Hope I have answered the question clearly, I think, because it's not just theoretical stuff read from different blocks or the document and other things actually. And even for coining in innovative questions, we have to have a startup that this is the concept. Based on that, I'm going to develop a question. So with fine-tuning, I'll get the perfection at the end. But more main contribution is from the human brain. For example, this brain was there even in the Stone Age. But at that time, the people did not use that much because there was no necessity. Now it has come to the stage that we have to effectively use it more and more and more. That is the thing.
So basically, it is helping to take away the operational burdens of the education system?
Yeah. More intellectual focus is getting increased. From November, I have experimented with the 2 courses actually. It has got tremendously increased, and my potential has got also enhanced.
So I will add to that point. See, I remember during my IIT days, we used to have Professor S.V. Raghavan. Right. We asked him during the end semester exam. I mean, we asked him like, what will be the question paper about? He said there will be whys and hows type questions, and there will not be any what type questions. You understand the gap here, right? So education has to move from answering what type questions, which can be 100% memory driven, to how and why type questions, which are 100% application driven, right? So you learn something in the classroom or you learn something during your education process, but you are tested on how you can apply that. So even if ChatGPT or any assistive technology is used as a part of the learning process, while deployment, they are on their own. So I don't think it's a problem at all. I don't think it's a problem at all.
Mr. Sundaresan, from your presentation, there's one question. Janaki Meena is asking that it appears that only industry like Microsoft, Google, Facebook are contributing to massive LLMs. Why is that so? And does that mean that we are moving from AI democracy to AI aristocracy?
The reason is, you need to have the muscle power to build larger systems. And unfortunately, education across the globe does not have the capital to build massive hardware infrastructure. And today, unfortunately, only the top companies have the muscle power to build massive infrastructure so that they can build massive models. So unfortunately, today it's aristocracy. I hope it becomes democracy very soon. Or some disruption happens in the computing world, or the GPUs or whatever. Some disruption happens there, so hardware is available for everyone, or deep learning does not require massive hardware. Something has to change now, so that the control is moved from a small pocket of people to the larger crowd. So today it is aristocracy, unfortunately.
So privacy and plagiarism are again major concerns. Maybe Dr. Jagannathan or Mr. Bhardwaj, you could take this. Like, what are the legal issues that students and educators both need to be aware of while using Gen AI tools?
Bhardwaj sir, are you taking? Shall I take?
First you handle, then I will come back.
Okay, fine. See, in the legal perspective and other privacy perspective, a strong policy should be put in force actually. And every country has, come out with a policy statement. In India also has come out with, draft national AI policy, and that is in the draft stage, and it will be accepted, and it will be coming into existence soon. And we can get all the updates from AI website of Government of India. The thing is, this AI is trained on a data set. For example, if I train a data set on particular data of only, marks of the students below 17 years of age, and if I want to predict the marks of a student age 28, I can't get that. That discrimination, gender discrimination. I get trained based on one data set. I can do the prediction or generation only in reference to that. So that creates across the globe, it has created the discrimination of the gender, ethical issues, everything, privacy, everything came into the thing. So that we have to have a regulatory mechanism. That is the only thing. Over and above, every user should have a self-regulation. That in any system, we should have a self-regulation. Even in the lock and key system also, there should be self-regulation. So that is the perfect way of getting adapted of it. If you don't have a strong policy towards that, then issues will crop up, and real essence of AI itself will get lost. For Bhardwaj sir, continue.
Yeah, most of the times while they are writing papers, generally they write survey papers and other things. There are many tools, generative AI tools, which can even predict whether the text is generated from AI. So they should be very careful. Let us say they think that I can write a survey paper using this generative AI tool. But there are some other tools like GPT-0 and other copy leaks, which can even identify whether the sentences are generated from AI tool itself or not. So they should be aware of these things while just taking the output of the generative AI tools. And also, there are many journals coming up with some guidelines for restricting the papers which are written using generative AI. So they should be very careful of about journal restrictions and journal guidelines. These two, I think I would like to suggest. Thank you.
So you did mention about the central policy, perhaps, which is not yet in place vis-a-vis AI. But
Yes.
Do institutions, universities need to have some specific guidelines, each one to his own? Like, how do we address that?
In my presentation, I mentioned it. I'll repeat again. Every institute should have a strong AI policy, and that policy should be framed after a strong brainstorming session with a subsequent experimentation. The rules can't be written just like that, actually. So now VIT is in the phase of doing the experimentation. So we will come with a strong policy, academic regulation. We will have an academic AI regulation. So only then we can make it perfect. We can get the best use of it. If we give a scope for misuse in diverse sense, then we are lost. We can't stop in the nonsense actually. So I mean, every institute should favor like ethics issue for related to research and all. Every institution is having a strong policy in compliance with the national policy. In the same sense, every institute should have their own policy, what to do, what not to do, how best to do, how worst not to do. Those things and all, we have to make it out. Everything should be in compliance with the national policy. Even the Australian government has come recently with that. American government has come out 5 months back. Like that, strong policy should be enforced to prevent the misuse.
TV Christie is asking, are there cyber attack risks while using Gen AI applications?
Okay.
Cyber attack risks.
Okay. See, cyber attack and Gen AI, they are from two different worlds, right? They are two different components of a larger system. So cyber attack is omnipresent. I mean, it can apply to anything. Doesn't mean whether it is a Gen AI based application or a mundane software application. Cyber attacks can always be there, right? So they are not really comparable. But the question is, can we can generative AI be confused, right? The unfair use, or see, without even knowing that it is being abused, generative AI can share a lot of stuff. See, for example, there was one recent article I read somewhere which said you prompt appropriately and the Gen AI model was actually leaking all the data with which the model was trained on. See, that is a bigger risk. That is a bigger risk. See, when we compartmentalize the generative AI model and make an application out of that, there is no problem. But can the application be confused? And if the root or the data with which the model was trained, if that was extractable, then we are in deep trouble. Right? So those kind of problems are something that we should discuss. The general cyber attack is applicable to anything that is online. Yeah.
So can then Gen AI generate novel patents that are patentable as per the Intellectual Property Act?
That's a great question, but the patents work in a very interesting fashion, right? See, patents don't expect implementation to be there, right? They only expect novelty, inventiveness, and practical application of a particular idea. So patents are given to cover an idea. They are not given to cover an existing system, the general idea. So based on the professor's notes previously, any Gen AI model that you talk about is built on static information, pre-existing static information. And whatever the Gen AI can generate is a sample from whatever it had already been trained on. So in short, you can call Gen AI as a very large memory. It's a massive memory. You can call it as a memory. And to me, that memory looks like God. But for the person who trained it, it is just a memory, right? So if you ask the system to create something new, Gen AI cannot do that. It can only give you a new mixing. It can give a new mixture, but it cannot generate anything completely new. So the requirement, the fundamental requirement of a patent is that it should not be there already. It should be novelty, right? It should not be there already. And whatever that we claim as novelty cannot be an obvious extension. That is also another clause they make. So if you make a delta change to something and you cannot claim that, okay, this delta change has made it novel. No, it doesn't work that way. And to my knowledge, even today, the patent officers are still humans. In the patent office, they use humans to review it. They don't use AI agents to review it. So I think I don't think Gen AI can generate patentable ideas. No, I don't think so, as of today.
Yeah, but Dr. Jagannathan, like even though you're focused or stressed on innovation and creativity, ultimately everybody is going to use the same Gen AI tools. So will anywhere merit get compromised?
Yeah, that is, I can rephrase this question in a different way.
Yeah, sure.
The student is sincerely using his thinking capacity and solving a problem, and one person using the chat GPT and submits an assignment. Hope this is the crux of your question. I hope I get it correctly. Am I correct? Okay,
Yes.
fine. Okay, fine. The thing is, now I am talking about the existing system actually. So if I give an assignment as a take-home assignment, and if these things you have to expect when you throw an assignment, every student there will be uses and misuses, everything actually. So as of now, I can give minimum weightage for the internal component. The take-home assignment will have 10% weightage, and if any student misuses it, okay, I'll have to compromise on the 5 marks or 10 marks actually. I'll have a bulk in the final semester end exam. Now at present we have a 60-40 ratio, 60 for internal component, 40 for the final session ending exam, like that we have. So in that case, as of now, in the existing scenario, one best thing is you have the internal assessment minimal weightage, and so where they will have an access for all the resources, so that merit the student who is doing sincerely will get the bound in the session ending exam, so merit cannot get compromised. This is the reply as for the existing scenario. Another thing is, as I told you, when the he, not the masculine he, higher education he is put in ICU, you will have a different concept. There may be a situation, the classroom may be replaced by something. See, very often I used to repeat this in my usual class. All the content which is available to me is also available to my students. Then why they have to come and sit in my class? Let us forget about the administrative attendance requirement. So I should be more proactive in triggering the thinking actually. In that sense, the concept itself can get transformed into a new pedestal, so that in that situation we can have the policy so that merit cannot get compromised. Merit should not get compromised also, but as a solution, as a temporary solution till those policy, everything comes into the existence. Now for the take-home assignment, we can have the minimal weightage and the bulk weightage for the session ending exam, where they don't have an access for that at present. This is a temporary solution. Hope I've cleared the question.
I'll just add one point to that. See, the definition of merit has to change.
That's what. Agreed. No, that's what I mean. The whole concept may get transformed also.
Yeah, so the measurements will become different. So the metrics with which we measure a student will evolve to embrace the technology availability, right? So we don't have to evaluate students. As I mentioned previously, we don't want to test the student for memory. We want to test the student for application. How they apply their knowledge, aka memory, into applying and towards solving a solution or solving a problem. So the metric will change, the evaluation style will change, the measurements or the measurements will change, so as to adapt to the modern requirements.
Yeah. One addition, as an addition, I'll make it out. Usually now we measure for the assessment, the learning measurement is based on the global practice of Bloom's taxonomy, knowledge, comprehension, and other thing. Now, knowledge and comprehension is going to be done by the tool. Application, analysis, creation, evolution is going to be taken by the human being, actually. So we have to get adapted and transform ourselves into a different scenario.
Yeah, I think the pedagogy of the education really has to change. So there's a very sensitive question from Shraddha Agarwal, who wants to know, how do we utilize this Gen AI for educating special needs children?
Great question.
Yeah.
Who takes it?
Okay, so I will share my thoughts. Maybe after that you can.
Sure.
See, for the special needs children, the requirements are, slightly different from the normal children, right? So you may have to generate content which can be consumed by students with special needs. There are students who will need more auditory training. There are people who need more, touch-based training. And so depending on that, we need to look at how to transform the data from one modality to another modality. Right. So Bharadwaj mentioned about, when a student cannot understand English, there are tools which will allow the content to be translated to their regional language and consume it in their regional language. So this is a special need in some sense, right? It's a special need. So for instance, let's say if the content is available in text and the student cannot see clearly, so why don't you play it? Why don't you convert that to an audio note and feed that slowly to the students so that they can learn by hearing to the knowledge, right? So there are people who cannot hear, who cannot see. They have to give them tactile feedback, right? I mean, you have to give them, they have to touch and feel to learn about a new topic or new subject. So we'll have to look at how you can transform the information from one modality to another modality. See, for example, GPT-4 like technology, which is available today, already supports multiple modality. You can ask a question by speaking to the system. You can give an image and ask the system to explain that image. You can give a video to the system and ask to, annotate the video. So those kind of tools are already available in parts. And I think the technology is already there to build applications for children with special needs. I think we are in the path to achieving that saturation point. Over to you, professors.
Same thing. I thought of telling the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
So
he
Sandhya,
addressed everything. He addressed everything.
okay. So Sandhya Piece is asking the interesting thing: what is the degree of hallucinations in ChatGPT? How do we understand that it is hallucinating?
It's what I suggested, I am the boss, my secretary prepares a document and I have to apply my mind and vet it out and give a stamp of approval. Only then it will be put in action. Hallucinations will always be there. It is up to us to check it out. Another thing that cannot be rectified by any person, by non-humans, it can't be done. Hallucination, because that's we are seeing papers also recently. Many things came, and that the false perception, because as Dr. Sudarshan pointed out, it from the static it makes it out. So we can't expect something more from that. What it has, it shares. That's all. Yeah. Based on the stuff it has, it is generating. So hallucination will. That's what if the data set, trained data set is biased, it will get reflected in all the perceptions. So that hallucination will always be there. So like we know, to erase human, like that, hallucination is the order of the day for AI tools.
Okay, the numbers wise, the hallucination for ChatGPT is somewhere around 8%, and GPT-4 is around 6%. I think hallucination is a blessing in a disguise. If the machines don't hallucinate, then humans will become fully dependent on these machines. It's a danger for the human tribe. So I think it is good that these machines hallucinate to some extent, so that our cognition kicks in and we apply our minds and keep our brain active. So I think it's a blessing in a disguise.
Yeah. If the secretary doesn't do a mistake, there is no job for the boss.
Exactly.
I think I'll end on that very positive note. There are still hundreds of questions and we don't have the time to take them. And most of them I find are repeating the same, very specific, like, whether children will lose reading habit, whether the assessment will be done properly. So I would request the panelists to kind of take them individually and you could answer all those questions which people have in mind. There were a lot of questions about actually campus interviews. All the final year students want to know whether you can guide, how they need to train on AI for, getting through jobs. So we will take that as the last question.
Any takers for the panelists interested in answering it?
You take it, sir.
Yes. The thing is, there are three types of job. One is it can be done only by the human being. And another type of job is it can be done replaced by the machine. Another type is combination. It's a combination of that is artificial job, human job, A job, artificial intelligence job, and HA job, human as well as AI tool combined. These are three. In any domain, any sector, you have these three things actually. Now, if I'm going to get recruited as a fresh, it is advisable always to get adapted to get the expertise in the AI domain. Whether you are in civil, mechanical, or soil engineering, water engineering, that doesn't matter. The AI is required for you because intelligence is required in all the domains. So that is the thing. If I am already in job, then there is an apprehension whether my job will be replaced by machine or something. Get adapted to the AI at the earliest. So that is either you be in a HA job, human combination, which will be done by the human as well as artificial intelligence, or you get into a HUD job, purely intellectual. Nobody can replace you even after billions of years. To put a safe game actually in that. If you are in the middle thing, I mean, a job means that can be easily replaceable. So don't get trapped by it. So for the placement other perspective, it is always to be better in HA job. Hope I have got without mentioning any of the domain, I have given a generic answer, I think.
So there is one popular anecdote here which says AI does not replace humans. Humans who have who have knowledge of AI replace humans who do not have knowledge of AI. That's how we should see it.
That I put as a HA job actually.
Yeah.
So actually, that was the thing, haha job. Hache, haha job. I used to say that.
Right. I think we'll bring the curtains down, and I'm very happy. Like all our panelists have exuded much promise and optimism over use of Gen AI and have shown us valid reasons like how it can impact on our jobs and education. And as you know, as in the backroom discussions, we were mentioning that earlier also there were so many disruptions due to technologies like internet, search engines were looked upon. But over a period of time, everybody has kind of got themselves adapted to the technology without compromising on its objectives. So in many ways, I think teachers will have to work innovatively with AI, and which has improved exponentially. And as you all said, that we have to set aside fears, rise to the occasion, and be ready to go with the flow. So I thank you all for joining today's webinar presented by VIT Chennai and the Hindu Education Plus. And the Hindu team may like to play the handout now. Who's going to screen the handout?
I think handout they will be distributing later.
Oh, I see. I thought they were showing it on the screen as well.
No,
Okay,
they are
okay. Okay, no issues. Okay, then I thank you all once again for sparing so much time on a Saturday morning. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, moderator, and thanks for the participants.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much to all.
Thank you.